All right, I have just completed this week's college basketball resume ranking, and the delineation between a good team seems to be the fact that Ohio State lost and Nebraska won. So that is kind of the cutoff we are looking at here. 8-loss Nebraska and a 9-loss now Ohio State. All right, so take that for what it's worth, but spoiler alert, the SEC still looms large in this ranking with 8 teams in the top 19. The Big Ten is creeping up lately in the past couple of rankings. In this ranking, they have 7 teams in the top 28. But none of the Big Ten teams are higher than 12, which is borderline 3 seed right now. So the Big Ten has to step its game up, or at least get the worst seeds and upset some of these SEC teams as we move into the NCAA tournament. But as of right now, I'm going to give you my top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seeds, the top 28. We're going to go by order here. The 1 seeds are 1 through 4. And Auburn stays right where they were from last week. They're 18-1. Wins versus Houston, Iowa State, Memphis, Purdue, Missouri, at Texas, Mississippi State, at Georgia, and Tennessee are all still great quality wins. They are tied for the most quality wins in the nation, and they have the best record in the nation. So no arguing there. Auburn is number 1 as far as resumes go. Alabama stayed at number 2, 17-3. They have wins versus Arkansas State, who might slip out of a good win category going forward, as well as McNeese State. But they beat Illinois, they beat Houston, Creighton, Oklahoma. They won at Texas A&M, at Kentucky, and they beat Vanderbilt. So they are tied for the most wins with Auburn, the 2 Alabama schools. I'm not even going to bring up the NFL joke anymore. It's like the college football joke anymore. It's like the SEC decided, all right, we're going to be good in basketball. And they did. And now they're kind of floundering in football. Is that a coincidence? You know, it's like Michigan. They can be great in football or basketball, but neither one at the same time. Is that a coincidence, or could it happen eventually? But number 3 is Duke, same as last week. So the top 3 stayed the same. Actually, 4 of the top 5 stayed the same. And really the top 8 didn't change much. But Duke is 19-2. The win at Arizona is looking better and better. They beat Auburn, the number 1 team. They won at Louisville. They beat George Mason. They won at SMU. They beat Pitt, and they won at Wake Forest. So 4 road wins that are quality for Duke. They're number 3. Number 4 is another SEC team, up 2 spots from last week, Tennessee. So 3 of the 1 seeds as of right now going to the SEC. Tennessee is 17-3. They won at Louisville. They beat Baylor, Illinois. They won at Texas. They beat Georgia, Mississippi State, and Florida. Got the revenge of that beatdown, and they beat them down in this game this past week. So they are number 1 seed right now in the resume ranking. The number 5 team and the first 2 seed is Iowa State, and they did not change from number 5 last week. 17-4, even though they lost. Their quality of wins are getting better. Dayton, Marquette, at Iowa, Baylor, at Texas Tech, Kansas, and UCF. Number 6 is Memphis, 18-4. They have wins versus Missouri, San Francisco, Connecticut, Michigan State, at Clemson, Ole Miss, and North Texas. And then number 7 is Florida, 18-2, but only 4 quality wins. That's, less losses, but not as many good wins, and that's what the resume ranking acknowledges. That's what it promotes. You got to have good wins to show you are a good team, has a good resume, in my opinion. Florida has beaten Wake Forest, Tennessee, Texas, and Georgia, all at home. Now, the last 2 seed, the number 8 team, was unranked last week. St. Mary's is number 8. They are 20-3. Akron is still a good win. Nebraska, like I said, they're that cutoff. They could go away next week as a good win for St. Mary's. But as of right now, they are. USC is in that category. San Francisco, Gonzaga, all them teams are in that category. But as in this moment in time this week, they all look pretty good, and that vaulted St. Mary's way up from unranked to number 8. All right, Marquette is still number 9, down 2 spots from last week. They are 18-4. They beat George Mason. They won at Maryland. They beat Purdue, Georgia, Wisconsin, and Creighton. Texas A&M is hovering around the same spot as last week, up 1 spot. 15-5, so the first 5 lost team. But listen to the wins. They beat Creighton, Wake Forest, Texas Tech, Purdue, who is coming up here right after them, Texas, and then their 2 road victories finally at Oklahoma and at Ole Miss jumped them ahead of Purdue, who is number 11, another 3 seed. So Purdue is 17-5. Their wins are amazing. They beat Alabama, they beat Miss, they beat Maryland, they beat Nebraska, they won at Oregon, they beat Michigan and Indiana. They are up 8 spots from last week. The reason Texas A&M is ahead of them is because of the head-to-head between the two, where Texas A&M won that game. The last 3 seed, the number 12 team, was unranked last week as well. Mississippi State is 16-4 now, and ho-hum, they're just moving along, beating the likes of SMU on the road. Pitt, they won at Memphis, they won at Vanderbilt, and they beat Ole Miss. Number 13 is Houston, 17-4. They beat BYU, West Virginia, at UCF, at Kansas, and then they just won at West Virginia to sweep them for the year as well. They're number 13. Number 14, Clemson, 18-4. These 2 teams, Houston was down 1 spot. Clemson stayed right the same from last week, 18-4. San Francisco, Kentucky, Wake Forest, Stanford, and they won at Pitt. All right. New Mexico is number 15 and a 4 seed. They are up 8 spots from last week, so they were ranked last week in the resume ranking. They just beat Utah State on the road. But before that, they beat UCLA, USC, VCU, and San Diego State. So 5 quality wins, only 4 losses. They're number 15 in the resume ranking in the nation. And then down 7 spots is Utah State, the team New Mexico beat. They are now 19-3, but only 4 quality wins. Iowa, St. Bonaventure, North Texas, and at St. Mary's. St. Mary's is a very good win on the road, but the head-to-head, New Mexico has to be ahead of Utah State at this moment because they are so close together, right next to each other. Kentucky is down 2 spots from last week, 14-5. They beat Duke, Gonzaga, Louisville, Florida. They won at Mississippi State, and they beat Texas A&M. So it's just how teams are around other people, Kentucky fans. All right, so moving down 2 spots cost you a seed, but really doesn't make much of a difference at this point in the season. All right, number 18 is Wisconsin, who moved up 4 spots. They are 17-5 now. They beat Arizona, UCF, Pitt, Iowa. They won at USC, and they beat Nebraska. Number 19 is Missouri, 16-4. Kansas, Vanderbilt. They won at Florida, and they beat Ole Miss. UCLA is number 20, and they were not ranked in the top 28 last week. But they are 16-6 now, and they have wins at Oregon. They beat Arizona, they beat Gonzaga, they beat Iowa, they beat Wisconsin. They won at USC, and now they beat Oregon again at home to sweep them for this season. Some teams, UCLA has 6 losses, so 6 teams beat them, like Michigan did. Why isn't Michigan ahead? Just don't have that number of quality wins as of this moment. So, Drake, Oregon, by the way, was number 10 last week, and they moved down 11 spots. They are number 21. They beat at Oregon State, Texas A&M, San Diego State. They beat Alabama, the number 2 team. They won at USC. They beat Stanford, and they beat Maryland. So another great record with 6 losses for Oregon. UCLA and Oregon, both in the Big Ten now. Them are a couple of the teams that are trying to creep up and stay, maybe get a 2 or 3 seed. We'll see. Drake moved down 5 spots to number 22. They're 20-2. They were the first 20-win team until St. Mary's matched them Saturday. They have wins versus Vanderbilt, and they won at Bradley. Michigan State is down 5 spots. They are 18-3. They beat Samford. They beat Nebraska, who's on the bubble, and they beat Illinois. All them games are at home. That's their best wins. So they're number 23. St. John's is number 24 now. They moved up 4 spots. They are 19-3. They have quality wins versus New Mexico, Georgetown, and then they won at Georgetown. So they swept Georgetown this year, who is hanging on to on the bubble as well. Michigan comes in at number 25, finally. Down 1 spot from last week, 16-5 now. Miami of Ohio was still a good win. At Wisconsin is looking better and better and better. They beat Iowa, and they won at USC, who just beat Michigan State, and they won at UCLA, who is a higher ranked team. So Maryland, the next 3 teams were not ranked going into this college basketball resume ranking from last week. Maryland is number 26, 17-5. They beat UCLA, Nebraska. They won at Illinois. They won at Indiana, and they beat Wisconsin. The reason they are not ahead of Michigan, the head-to-head. Or no, I thought we had a head-to-head. No, we didn't. Not yet. Not yet. All right. Louisville is number 27, 16-6. Indiana, West Virginia, Clemson, at Pitt, at SMU, and Wake Forest are all quality wins for a 6-loss team. And then the last team, Texas Tech, is number 28, 17-4, but only 3 quality wins. At BYU, Arizona at home, and at Houston with their 4-loss record. So there you go. Just to recap real quick, Auburn, Alabama, Duke, and Tennessee are your 1 seeds as of right now at this moment. Iowa State, Memphis, Florida, St. Mary's are your 2 seeds. Marquette, Texas A&M, Purdue, and Mississippi State are your 3 seeds. Houston, Clemson, New Mexico, and Utah State are your 4 seeds. Kentucky, Wisconsin, Missouri, UCLA are your 5 seeds. Oregon, Drake, Michigan State, and St. John's are your 6 seeds. And Michigan dropped from a 6 seed last week to a 7 seed, along with Maryland, Louisville, and Texas Tech. There you go. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Like the video. Did I leave out your favorite team? Let me know. There you go. It's not much I can say about it except for what I already did. It's a formula that I have. I spit it in. There's no eye test. There's no bias of any kind that goes into this ranking. So I just lay it out there and I tell you what I think about it. So what do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Have a great day out there. Like, share, subscribe. But go blue. Come on. Beat Oregon and Indiana this week. Let's go.